Hello and welcome to another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Finalizing. Now, our topic today is how to create a painterly effect using textures and an overlay with the local masking. All right, let's dive right in. All right, so here we are with Wendy. I'm going to show you the before and after image. Here's the original. And here's what we're going to convert this into using that texture overlay, and we'll be using the local masking. All right. Now, I've gone so far as this. Here, let me reset this. Revert to original. I've even created my own template for it. So let's come over here so you can see it. Here's painterly effect. Look at that in one shot. Now, keep in mind, what you're seeing on her face here, I did mask over and put a mask on it. So if we apply this to another image, we'd have to recreate that mask, which isn't a big deal. But look how fast we were able to do that. So let's go back and revert to the original. Now let me show you how I did it. All right. I'm going to dive in first on showing you how to create the mask, and then we'll edit the photo. So we'll click on the local masking brush, and from here I want to add texture. Now from texture we'll load it, and I did mention before a good rule of thumb on when you want to save your when you're saving your textures or skies or anything that you want to use, overlays, put them in an asset folder, typically with your other images. So here's the texture folder I have. And this one here is the rough texture. All right, now that I have it set, open it. Now, I apply it on top of the image. And the top part here is strictly for the brush. The bottom part here is for the texture. So let's take that texture way over to 100%. Click on the advanced settings. Now from here, before we blend it, with Wendy below, let's get the texture looking the way we want it. Let's add some contrast to it. A little saturation. Darken it up a bit. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, this is where we use overlay, or we're going to use the texture overlay, the layer overlay, to where we want to punch through to the bottom. So from here, if you notice how they're separated with these lines, the first word in the line typically represent what it's going to do until it gets to the next line or the next section. So here, these are going to lighten the images. Overlays are going to do just that. They're going to overlay on top of it, either with soft light or with hard light. Differences, you can either add differences to it or subtract. You is going to deal with colors, all right? What we want, we either go soft light or hard light. Let's go soft light for now. Now, remember, I have that at 100% opacity. Had we have chosen hard light, then what we'd end up doing is come over here and just dial that back a bit so I can see Wendy. In fact, you know what? Let's leave that. I like it because it looks like it adds more texture. Now, what I don't like is what it's doing to Wendy's face. This is where the masking comes in. So we're going to come over here to the brush. Instead of painting the effect, I want to erase it. Now we have a choice. We can start at 100%, and now it just takes it out completely, or start with a lower number. Let's say between 25 and 50. Good. Now what I'm going to do is come in and just lightly brush over the areas I don't want it to be predominant. Her eyes, for example, I definitely want to do a lot there. And by the way, yes, she does have one blue eye and one green eye. And I'll show you how we're going to solve that. Good. Ooh, I like that. I don't like it on her face there. Good. If I need to bring more back in, I'll just click the brush tool and then just add a little more texture in. There we go. I want to remove some here, let's say. Or not make it as blotchy. There we go. All right, I like that. All right, so we didn't even edit the image yet. We just popped an overlay on it. And what's really cool, and I can't stress this enough about Luminar, it's designed for us photographers, the creative types, you know, the ones that go, oh wow, squirrel. You know, the ones that like to go like this when we're editing. Photoshop, I love it to death, but it is a very analytical program. You start with A, B, C, D, and you have to go in order on certain things, otherwise it's not going to work. Here, we could have chosen to edit her first. We could have edited her first and then go back and apply the texture. Or do what we just did, apply the texture and then go back and do the editing. So let's go and create some art with this. Now, I am going to come up here and typically, in fact, you know what? Let's do this just so I can show you my thought process without having to redo what I just did. I'm going to save this as my template edit. Now I'm going to come back over, adjustments, and I want to revert to the original. All right, so we're back where we started. So if I chose the path of editing the image first and then doing the textures, what I would have done is come to templates, let it help me look through a template. Okay, teal and orange. Look at that. Before and after. I love what it did. We can come in and you'll see where I'm heading with this. And I just realized something. So what I wanted to show you, so we didn't have to do that whole texture thing over again, but now that I added these settings, if I go back to templates and I add the template we just created, it's going to overwrite everything that we just did. So there goes that theory. I wanted to save it quick. I wanted to make this a quick edit just to show you, but we'll go back to it in a moment. So you understand the concept there? Anything with templates, the moment you apply a template, it overwrites anything you've already used with your settings. This way, you're not going to get unexpected results. All right, so we're just going to bomb through her quick. Her face. Now, I mentioned she does have one blue eye, one green eye. How I solved that with a lot of the shooting that we've done with each other is we bought green contacts. I'm going to add a little flare. Enhance the eyes. And remove some of the dark circles. Let's improve her eyebrows. Good. Mouth. And remember, we could have done this with the texture overlay already in place. There. Now, look how great that did. Even with the hair here, it did a pretty good job, but it looks a little it doesn't look as natural. So let's come over here to the tool or to the brushes. We're going to erase it. Let's go almost 50%. I'm just going to brush over a couple times. There we go. There. So you can't notice it. We just blended it right in. All right, the face looks great. Let's adjust the skin. And now, do we really need to do this, honestly? No, because we're applying that killer texture on it, but we like to, that's what I'm looking for. As photographers, we kind of like to make sure everything looks as good as it can. But really, if I were stressed on time, I wouldn't have to go through this because you're not going to notice it with those textures. All right, look how great that looks. Before, after. I love where it's at. I think I want to add a little more tone to her skin. So there's two ways we could do it. Super contrast always works out good. Look at that. Right about, that looks good. And now let's go back to the brush. Texture. Load that texture quick. And again, watch how fast this is. 100%. Let's give it a little more contrast. Saturation. A little darker. Good. And then let's come over here and we did hard light. And bring the opacity down a bit. Right about there. Good. Erase. Let's bring it down a little more. Good. And then I'm going to breeze right through this. Start at the eyes because that's where I want the main focus to be. And just lightly brush through. Dab. And I'm doing this. A little flick. Good. I felt I went a little too far. I'll go back to brush. Add a little here. And there we have it. Let me erase just a little bit down here. A little more right there. That's good. All right. And I'll answer the questions in just a moment. So we have the local brushing down. I mean, look how quick this was. And please, if you have questions, now's a perfect time to pop them in. So we'll answer them right in a moment. Let's see. Let's do color harmony. Brilliance. Yeah, look at that. A little too much. Right about there. Decide if I want to add warmth or if I want to cool it down a bit. Right about here is good. There we have it. Before. After good. Just makes the red pop just a little more. All right. There we are, guys. And again, before. After. That texture took a whole maybe 50 seconds. And then putting it all together, you saw how I did a restart from beginning to end on how to do that overlay. So that's a creative way of doing this. This will look great, let's say on flowers, on landscapes. So you find a texture and you bop it in. All right? So, hey, thank you. Let's check out some of the comments. Oh, thank you, Ray. All right, now let me go up to the very top because there was a comment before. David says, Angela mentioned that in the next software update, that there could be improvements to the mask. Yes, David, lots of, and good morning from New Zealand. Yes, there is lots of updates. Sorry, there's lots of updates. This whole morning, do I want to use the word playing? Because I mean, it's my job. Yeah, I was playing with it. So I was able to play with Update 2 and put it through its paces. Wow. You're going to really like a lot of user experience. Things have been added to it. And of course, Sky 2.0 has been added. But there's a lot of little things that the engineers did that just makes it a more enjoyable experience on what we're doing here. And it's awesome. So as for the masking, there's a couple little things that were added, which we'll go through. And I'm hoping we can give you guys first looks at it, because as of today, news people and some of our ambassadors will receive a copy to work with. They can't show it yet until it releases. And once it releases, I'm hoping to be able to show you it before it releases so you can see some of the really cool new features we have. All right, let's see other questions. James. Good. Hello, guys. Good. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let me pull this up. All right, Gabriel is saying what we're all thinking. Is there a chance to organize my own templates? Yes, so I asked over the weekend if I could have the new version of the templates. You know, one thing I can't say about the templates, Keith, which you're gonna like. I'm sorry, it was Gabriel. Gabriel, what you're gonna like is all of the other templates that we have inside Luminar, the ones that come with it, are now AI. So they can detect what's happening in the scene and also be applied to the suggestions. So that's really cool. Our own personal templates can't do that yet. But with what they are sending me, hopefully real soon, I can experiment with making our own template packets and see what it takes to add it to AI. So that's something we just have to watch for. And what I do like, Gabriel, is we did organize some of the templates, which would be pretty cool. However, I do want to show you, or I do want to mention the template section has a little overhaul, which is going to look phenomenal. And it's so much easier to get through them. But Keith, I will be Gabriel, I will be working on a coffee break on how to organize our templates in the meantime. So before all this other stuff, whether or not it works the way we want it, I'm going to show you a way how I do it to where I can store maybe 50 of my own templates and know exactly where they are. James, thanks for that update. Kelby's group did an extensive review of Luminar AI. I have to admit, it's so cool. Scott is a very, very close friend of mine. 20 plus years ago, he introduced me to Photoshop over 20 years ago. So how cool do you think it felt, me sitting down with him, collaborating on Luminar, showing him, how to use the smart object, use the smart filter, and just watching him go through or answering questions that he has. So it felt really cool to collaborate with him after all these years of all the stuff he's done for me. I'm excited that I'm able to return the favor and do that for him. Awesome. Now, and so Russell's asking, will you be able to make our own template packs? That's what they're sending me the information on. I want to see how difficult it is, and if it's, I got to see how difficult it is, and I have to get the permission from the higher up. If they say, yeah, create a video on it, I'll do a video. But if it's complicated, the issue there is support's going to get a lot of calls, and even if we tell them, don't call support for this, people will. So we have to see if the templates, we already know how to make templates, the template packs. It'll be really cool. So we'll see, and again, I can't promise, but once they do give me access on how we do it, because I know how to do looks for Luminar 4. That was real cool, and I was able to bomb those out really fast. If they show me how to do it here, then I'll see if I can pass the information on to you guys. All right? Well, guys, this is awesome. And again, our format, by the way, for the show is to try to get to our topic within the first 3 to 5 minutes of the show. Once we get to it and you understand how to create, like ours was that template, how to create that template in that short period, then we can go off, answer a ton of questions, go off script, and just create and have fun. So, guys, thank you so much for all this. And again, if you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. make sure you hit that thumbs up to show our producers that you guys are loving what we're doing. And any questions you have for ideas for future shows, let us know, and we'll add those. One last one. Oh, let me pull this up real quick. David again says, I'm waiting to achieve a classic painterly look. Now, ready guys? Listen close how I'm going to say this. Luminar is not designed for the painterly effect, and we have never intended it to be that way. A program like Topaz, what is it? Impression. Topaz Impression is what I would use if you want to create this. If you want to take it, so here we are. I showed you a really quick, fast way to use Luminar to create a painterly effect. Boom, done. Do you have the utmost control over each of the brushes? No. But I wanted to show you a cool, creative trick. Next step. If you find that this stuff is phenomenal, you love it, you want to take it to the next level, some of our users are doing these incredible still life portraits, you know, the traditional wine bottle, cheese, but I mean, and then they're taking it to another level. They're doing some killer still life stuff, and then they're using Topaz, and I believe it's, like I said, it's either impression or painterly. You use that, and then that will take you to the next level. Now, ready for this? Or you go to the following level, and that's where you would meet up with somebody like Sandra Pearsall or Faye Circus. Oh my Lord, those two are phenomenal traditional artists that have embraced digital, and they teach you how to use this image, let's say of Wendy. You would sketch it, and then boom, throw away the picture, and from scratch, do your amazing classic portraits. I can't paint. I mean, I can't draw a stick figure. Faye and Sandra had me doing some killer stuff in a short time. So do you see how the progression goes? And I catch myself, and I'm sorry I don't mean to go off on this, I catch myself acting like, you know, the typical, some of those photographers who are not pros, and they're almost embarrassed to say, well, I'm not a professional, but how does this look? It looks great. I caught myself doing that. Ladies, I'm not a professional painter. You know, I just used, what does this look like? And I caught myself saying that, and I thought, Vanelli, knock it off. I love it. Wendy, the woman in the photo, she absolutely loved this. So no, I shouldn't feel guilty that I'm not painting like a Faye Circus or a Sandy Pearsall or Pearson. So those are the ones, like I said, if you want to go really good, you have Luminar, we showed it. Better, you would use a program that's designed specifically for painting. And then what I do is I bring it back into Luminar and just go off with the creativity on it. And now it looks absolutely phenomenal. Then the next phase would be to take professional classes with these digital artists out there, and you'll be amazed at how fast you can, let me rephrase it, you'll be amazed how quickly you'll pick up the painting. But man, this would take days and days. And if you feel it's worth it, then by all means do it. I'm a photographer first, and then I do graphic stuff or creative stuff second. You just decide where you want to go with that. All right? Well, thank you, who was it? David. Thank you, David, for bringing us down that little rabbit hole. All right, guys? Well, hey, thanks again for joining us, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.